352-861-7229. That's 352-861-7229. Or stop by their new showroom, 9169 South Highway 441 in Ocala.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We haven't had Dr. Christine Horner on our show for a while, Rob. It's been a long time, right?
Yeah.
Whenever she's been on, she's educated us about our own bodies, our health, and she should know she is a board-certified surgeon, a preventive health expert, and, you know, it is that part of our conversations that is my favorite. Because you can talk about being sick, but I'd rather not get sick. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? She's a best-selling author. Her book is called Waking the Warrior Goddess, and it is her program to protest against and fight breast cancer. She, in fact, a hero, if you will. She had a project called the Breast Reconstruction Advocacy Project, also known by its acronym of BRA. And that was signed into law as a federal bill called the Women's Health and Cancer Rights Act of 1998. That's how far back her work goes. And I believe that bill made it a requirement for insurance companies to pay for women's breast reconstruction procedures following a mastectomy. I could be wrong. She's going to correct me if I am. And I'm okay with that. She's a pretty lady. I don't mind getting corrected by a pretty lady. If you're an ugly man, I don't want to be corrected by you. Dr. Christine Horner, good morning, doctor. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Pretty good. How did I do on the intro? Did I get anything right?
Perfect.
It was good.
You
Good.
got it all right.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. And how are you? Where are you right now? Where are you calling from?
I'm in San Diego, California.
And how are you?
I'm doing fabulous. You know, it's always fabulous in San Diego, year-round.
I know. Well, I haven't been there. I've been to Santa Monica, which I love.
Uh-huh.
So let me ask you about the preventive part, because to me, when I see something as simple as avoiding sugar, as addicted as I am to sugar, it makes sense to me to just, if you remove that, because I removed cigars from my lifestyle. I don't know if you remember me telling you that. But it's been like 7 or 8 years now. Mm-hmm. And it was a little difficult, but not too bad. But I mean, if that's all I need to do to prevent a life-threatening illness, that's not bad.
No, you know, the thing that's just really amazing, you know, just to kind of give a little background to your listeners, you know, I was a plastic surgeon and did a lot of breast reconstructive surgery and noticed that my patients were getting younger and younger and younger until finally I was doing women in their 20s. And I thought, you know, something is like way wrong with this. I mean, there's got to be something that women can do to help to protect them from developing this disease. And then my own mother got breast cancer and died from it. So that was really the, you know, the final straw for me where I thought, you know, I'm really going to look. So, you know, I went through the medical research, and this was probably about 10 years ago or so, and back at that time, we didn't really, you know anything as far as, and things weren't being publicized. And I literally found thousands of studies that show exactly why we have a breast cancer epidemic and all the things that we're doing to contribute to it and the things that we traditionally don't do in this culture that are highly protective, and they're all natural. So foods, supplements, herbs, lifestyle factors, all these things at that time in my Western training I was taught didn't really matter. And I was like, whoop, they really lied to me. And the other thing that was really encouraging for me, too, was that when I went through the research at that time, every single item that had a statistically significant influence, either you need to avoid or either you need to favor, it would cut your risk in half. You know, so it's not a little. Yeah,
that's a lot.
You can have a terrible diet and lifestyle and do one thing. You can cut your risk in half, and if you do more than one thing, those things will multiply up together. They don't add up together, so it becomes incredibly simple to dramatically lower your risk.
Will the things that lower the risk for breast cancer also lower the risk for all other cancers, and therefore be applicable to men as well as women?
Well, there's a whole variety of different cancers and different things cause them to grow, but the three that are the most common in our culture, breast, prostate, and colon cancer, are actually very similar tumors. They're called hormonal tumors, and so what influences the risk of one influences the risk of all three. So definitely for those. For other ones, sometimes, it may not have that much of an influence, or it might be a little bit different as far as like leukemia and things like that, but definitely breast, prostate, and colon cancer.
Okay.
Because when cancer is diagnosed, sometimes the cancer is contained and can be operated on and removed, and other times it just spreads like wildfire. How can a person help when they have something like that?
Well, there's many different things that we're now finding with research, and thank goodness we've had such an explosion of research in the last few years or so to give us a better understanding of this. But one of the things that's actually kind of alarming is I told you I saw women in their 20s with breast cancer, and so we know that it's been growing for about 8 to 10 years at that point, which means it started in the teen years. And one of the frightening things that we have found is that the younger women, so let's say in their 20s and 30s and so forth, that they're being diagnosed with breast cancer, however, not at the rate is what we see when you get older, because it increases as you get older, but it actually is the one age group where we're seeing an increased risk of breast cancer in more advanced stages. So they tend to be a little bit more aggressive. So I actually am kind of focusing my message out there. We're getting close to doing Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October again, and that, it's never too young to actually start thinking about preventative measures. And what we found is that girls are going through puberty at younger and younger ages in the United States. In fact, around the world, the average age is about 16 to 17 years old, and in this country, it's getting down to about 10.
Why?
So, and well, one of the things that we think is because we've got so many growth hormones and antibiotics and things that will mimic the estrogen molecule and all sorts of different things, from plastics to cosmetics to you name it, and we think that that's one of the reasons that we're seeing, a major reason really, that we're seeing this early puberty. And early puberty is very, very dangerous for multiple different reasons. One is that a girl will have more periods over her lifetime if she's starting at 10 versus 16, and they found that the incidence of breast cancer goes up by 50% for the rest of her life if she starts early puberty. And then also the breast cells are considered immature, and that makes them more sensitive to environmental radiation and toxins and so forth. So teenagers are actually more sensitive to the toxins than you are as an adult when the breast tissue will mature. Now, some good news is really interesting studies that were done looking at organic tofu. So tofu, if given to girls right around puberty, right before puberty, it's been found to delay puberty.
Really?
And also to mature the breast cells. So it makes them less sensitive to the environmental damage.
Well, can I ask interject a question real quick? Is it stopping it, or is it preventing? Like, does a meat product somehow cause the problem because of the hormones?
Yes, because of the hormones. Yeah, exactly. And whereas organic tofu, so I'll just mention, you really have to be careful with the brand that you get, because in this country, like, most of the soy is sprayed and genetically modified. So I like a brand out of Japan, which is called Morinaga, and it's they have organic tofu. So there's no GMOs and no contaminants or anything, and you can get it anywhere. I mean, Costco has it and stuff. And
but I guess what I'm not clear of is eating tofu instead of eating meat.
Yes, because actually they found the teen years are the ones are the most influential.
So what if they just became
for the rest of your life?
But what if they just became vegan though, and tofu wasn't part of it?
Well, you know what? Being a vegetarian is always advised for many different reasons, but it decreases the risk of virtually every kind of chronic disease, and you've got to replace it with some protein. But the one thing that they have found is that tofu in particular is a thing that helps to lengthen, the time before you start puberty, and also to mature the breast cells. So, really important, to do that. Another thing that we look at is the immune system. So, unfortunately, our teenagers, for the most part, are eating junk food, and that really is a problem with the immune system and puts them at higher risk for, all sorts of different things. But, and we're giving them the, HPV virus, vaccine that
I want to hear about that too. Doctor, we have to take a little break, and
Sure.
for the listeners, we'll be right back. Dr. Christine Horner is our guest. Her book is called Waking the Warrior Goddess. You might have heard us mention that title before because she's been with us before, and she's calling in from San Diego, so thank you for getting up early to be on our show. Preventive cancer strategies for girls and women, specifically between the ages of the preteen girls and the 40-something women. We'll continue that conversation when we come back after the weather and a couple of commercial spots. We'll do that in just a bit. This is The Source, WOCA.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, times of sun and clouds. There'll be a thunderstorm around this afternoon and evening, the high 88 to 92. Partly cloudy later tonight, low 72 to 76. Tomorrow, times of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm likely in the afternoon and evening, high 88 to 92. For Wednesday, clouds and sun with an afternoon thunderstorm, high 90 to 94. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
The hottest CD deal this summer is with Florida Credit Union. Our summer CD special includes a short 25-month term combined with 1.51% APY. Take advantage of this high-yield CD special. Offer good till Saturday, August 16, 2014. In Gainesville, call 352-377-4141. In Ocala, call 352-237-8222. Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life. Federally insured by the NCUA. Offer subject to change at any time. $10,000 minimum.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
How good does it get?
Golf has long been considered to be sport's most prestigious game, and WOCA has your connection to everything in the golf world. Every first and third Thursday at 10 a.m., tune in for Let's Talk Golf with your host, PGA professional and teacher to the stars, Jim Beckett, and operations manager for the Links of Spruce Creek South, Darren Irwin, right here on The Source.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Fredericks Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Fredericks Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Fredericks Appliance is located in Bellevue, right over the railroad tracks. Call 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. ABC Fredericks Appliance.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
WOCA.
All right, 18 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Dr. Christine Horner is on the phone out in San Diego, California. She's a board-certified surgeon, a plastic surgeon, and she's been working for years with women who've been battling breast cancer and was instrumental in passing laws that allowed insurance or enabled or demanded that insurance companies pay for reconstructive surgery, which is a good thing. But what would be better than that is to prevent cancer, and that's what we're talking about. And so we kind of left off at that. Doctor, real quickly, a question. I noticed you mentioned organic tofu. And you kind of explained that a lot of the soy that is made that is used to make the tofu has been processed or sprayed with pesticides. So we're not safe just by avoiding the meat. We have to go to. So would organic meat be any better than you know what I mean? Does that make a difference?
Well, it definitely it doesn't have the growth hormones that are added to it and has less contaminants, but there's actually many other aspects to it that increases the risk of breast cancer. So it's not the safest thing, and, definitely doing plant sources is best, and like I said, the organic tofu is really been shown to be beneficial for girls in the kind of preteen teen time.
Isn't that kind of a contradiction, though? I mean, saying that if they eat tofu, puberty will be delayed, but the tofu will cause the breast cells to mature. I mean, don't the breast cells have to mature when puberty is happening?
No. So they don't mature until you have a baby. So during that whole stretch of the teen years, you can have immature breast cells that are super sensitive to toxins, so you can mature it with tofu. And also turmeric, the Indian spice turmeric, helps to mature the breast cells.
Oh.
To make them more resistant to environmental toxins. Yeah.
Didn't realize that.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was one and the same.
So that is that is kind of almost sounds like contradictory, but I see what you're saying. So do you have in the book, does it lay it all out so that it's easier to understand and to remember?
Oh yeah, I have an entire chapter, there that goes into all the details and talks about all the controversies and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so absolutely.
Is there any place in the world where there is no breast cancer?
It's extremely low in rural India and also rural China. And so one of the reasons that they believe that is because of all the different factors that we found that can be contributors to breast cancer and protectors. It's kind of pretty much they're leading that lifestyle. So they mostly are vegetarians. They're eating tofu in China. They are getting exercise and mostly a plant-based diet, and that kind of thing.
So, and maybe there's a different explanation, but the one person I always think about when we hear about vegetarian diets preventing cancer is Linda McCartney. And for those who don't know, she was Paul McCartney's wife, and she was a vegetarian. In fact, I think she was a vegan.
Yeah.
And she died of cancer. I don't know what kind of cancer, though.
Oh, she had breast cancer.
Oh, she did.
I'm not sure if that vegan happened before or after that, but it's not just one thing. So that's one thing that I caution people about is to say, oh, it's just all diet. It's like, no, there's so many other factors, which is what my book includes too. It's everything that I could find that has a statistical influence that you need to avoid or you need to favor. So, yeah.
Oh, you have a comment about the HPV vaccine. For myself, I would never, ever consider giving that to my children.
Absolutely not. And you know what? I mean, sometimes I just want to scream and go wild over our pharmaceutical companies. They're just really interested in making money versus real health. And what they found with this particular vaccine, the Gardasil vaccine, is that it has double the number of side effects to it compared to any other vaccine that's ever been produced in the history of the world. And in fact, they've had 136 girls die after they've received this. 922 disabilities, like permanent disabilities, even life-threatening illnesses, like 550 life-threatening illnesses. And it only lasts for 5 years. So by the time they're 18, of course, when they're recommending it, it's worthless anyway. So it's like, what in the world are we doing? Now, here's some really great news is that there was a study that was done out of MD Anderson on a substance called AHCC, active hexose correlated compound, which is simply it's a mushroom formula out of Japan. And actually there's been hundreds of studies done on AHCC regarding breast cancer and other types of cancers because they found what it does is it really supports every cell type in the immune system and helps to prevent all sorts of different kinds of cancers, and they actually prescribe it in the hospitals in Japan, AHCC, for cancer patients because the survival statistics are so much better. So what they did at MD Anderson is they tested it against the HPV virus, and they found that it killed the HPV virus, and HCC prevented infections from occurring. So it's just like, what? I'd be giving HCC to my teenage
daughter. Yeah.
Really boost the immune system, which, is going to help you overall for everything, even preventing colds. I take it every day, and it travel like crazy and don't get any colds with that. So,
and where do you get it? I mean, what is that? I mean, is it something?
So HCC, if you Google it, you can get it on the web. I like a company that's called Quality of Life Labs, HCC, but again, it's best to just Google it.
Are you saying H like in Henry? Henry?
Yeah, active hexose correlated compound. So AH as in Henry, CC. Yeah.
AHCC. Okay, and you could get it's for sale on Amazon. Of course, everything's for sale on Amazon.
Everything's for sale on Amazon. That's right. Yeah. So that's an easy one. And then the other thing is probiotics. I mean, we're hearing so much about, how the right gut bacteria is really crucial for health.
Right.
You know, most of our immune system is actually in our intestines, which most people don't realize. And so your intestinal health is something that really affects your immune system. So another thing that you really want to do to help support your immune system is to take probiotics. And I recommend one that's called B as in boy, as in boy, 536, and it's another thing out of Japan. But what they found is that normally with the probiotics you have to refrigerate them, and they're kind of unstable. But this one's the most stable, and it's actually a human strain, rather than an animal strain, which is why I like it. So,
You also are saying that mammograms are kind of obsolete now, that there's other types of scanning the breast to find the breast cancer?
Yeah, we're really coming to that conclusion. So, just like we were giving women hormone replacement therapy, everybody was getting it, this is going to be good for your health. When the Women's Health Initiative study, which is a prospective, long-term study, gets us best information, that's the way we found, everything we were saying was wrong, and in fact it increases your risk of breast cancer as well as some other diseases, and women should stop taking it. So when the prescribing practices suddenly changed based on that study, then the incidence of breast cancer went down by 7% the next year, and another 7% the year after that. So it's kind of the same thing where for years, we've been using mammograms since the 70s and telling women to do that. And now, in the last year, we've come out with several long-term, large studies, prospective studies too, which is where we get the best information. And every study is showing there's absolutely no difference between doing mammograms and physical examination regarding mortality of breast cancer. And there's so many problems. So it's very underreported, the number of problems, including 30% overdiagnosis, which means they're diagnosing breast cancers when a woman doesn't have breast cancer 20 to 30% of the time, and they end up going, through surgery, radiation, and everything needlessly. So using different screening technologies that we now have, and research shows that they're wonderful, in fact, better alternatives to mammograms, such as more sophisticated ultrasounds that use 3D ultrasounds or something called elastography that measures the flexibility of the cell membranes. We can see tumors as small as 1 millimeter, which is smaller than a mammogram. And then also thermography. So thermography is an infrared picture of the breast. It looks at heat and blood vessel patterns, and we'll see those changes before a tumor actually starts to grow. So it's the only truly preventative technology that we have. But the research shows you have to do 3 tests in order to get the very best information, because no test is perfect. So a combination of the ultrasounds, thermography, and physical examination. 70% of breast cancers are found by the patients themselves.
Wow.
We absolutely need to include that too.
Can I go back to the HPV? Is that what it's called?
Sure.
HPV?
Yeah.
The one I remember we were debating this, and since you've had your hand in how laws are done, the one thing that bothered me about this. Now, I love what you've just said, and both you and Robin. I mean, you obviously know more about it than I do, and it just sounds like a good thing to stay away from. But the one thing I remember debating as just a person, just as somebody who's an American, was the mandate that girls have to have this. Do you remember that? Or did we ever do away with that, or is that still in place in some places?
We've got a tricky government, because when you start looking in to see who's running what, oftentimes in the FDA in particular, we find that the people that are running many of the departments are former CEOs and, high-uppers in some of these corporations. So there's definitely some shifty stuff going on, and this is, a prime example of it. When you've got,
and a parent can't even tell the school or whatever, no, I don't want my daughter to have this.
They can't. No, they absolutely can't, but they're harassed, by their doctors.
That
and
is
everything.
crazy.
No, you can say that. You can say absolutely not.
We'll have to look into what states are doing that. I don't want to be unfair to you. We're almost out of time. So the book is called Waking the Warrior Goddess, and do you have a website?
Sure. So my book is actually out in its 3rd edition, and the website is drchristinehorner.com, Dr, no punctuation, Christinehorner.com.
Okay, and is your book on Amazon like everything else is?
It is. You know what? It actually won the Best Health Book of the Year, so it's on every site. And
wow.
Yeah, and it was number 1 on Amazon, when it came out.
Well, it's good to hear. It's good to hear from you. We love our breasts, and
that's right.
we love your breasts. And the women that are attached to them.
Good, and you should.
Yeah, of course. Dr. Horner, thank you for being on our show. It's a long time. You got to come more often. You can't. What was it? At least 2 years, probably. I bet you. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for doing what you're doing, and then also for taking time out of the day to be with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
All right. Great interview as always. We'll take a little break and be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. A political shift in Iraq. Its president asking a top parliament official to form a new government in 30 days.
It's a public snubbing of Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki, who wanted to keep the job for a third term. But with the Islamic State sweeping through Iraq's north, Maliki's sectarianist policies alienated international and domestic allies.
Fox Radio's Kimberly Adams. A judge extending a moratorium on executions in Ohio due to end this week until January, delaying some scheduled executions. Debate goes on over the state's new two-drug combination and highlights the problems states face in getting drugs to put inmates to death. An investigation continues into the death of race car driver Kevin Ward Jr., who got out of his car and was struck and killed by NASCAR star Tony Stewart. This fan calls it a sad time.
I think it affects everybody a lot. Definitely affected the mood of all my friends.
Stewart is cooperating with authorities. No criminal charges filed. Fox News, we report, you decide.
They say every healthy relationship should have a balance of predictability and spontaneity. In fact, it is that assurance of security that makes the spontaneous possible. Your relationship with your car should be a little like that too. With our new industry-leading unlimited mileage warranty, your certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz instills a sense of confidence. You drive away knowing that you can keep driving for up to 3 years and never have to worry about the miles. Add to that our new complimentary prepaid maintenance on select models, and your certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz becomes the ultimate carefree escape vehicle. Only during the Mercedes-Benz Certified Pre-Owned Sales event, going on now through September 2nd, can you also take advantage of a 2-month payment credit on many models, plus 3 months of Sirius XM satellite radio. So hurry in today. It might just be the most predictable, spur-of-the-moment decision you've ever made.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala Restore at 926 Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give us a call at 401-0075 and we'll come pick it up. For more information, visit ocalarestore.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County. Building homes, building hope, building community.
Here are today's headlines from The Source, WOCA. Early voting in Florida's August 26th primary election begins this week, with most counties offering more days and more locations. Prompted by record wait times at early voting sites in 2012, the state legislature made changes in the law to give county elections supervisors what they've been requesting for years, more flexibility in hours and locations. Counties can now offer early voting anywhere from 8 days and 8 hours a day to 14 days and 12 hours a day. Possible locations have also been expanded to allow early voting sites such as fairgrounds and community centers, although most balloting is expected to continue taking place at elections offices, city halls, and libraries. Even so, turnout is forecast to be only 20%, with only a few races, such as the Democratic primary for governor between Charlie Crist and Nan Rich, generating much voter interest. Florida's Attorney General wants a freeze on appellate court rulings involving the legality of the state's ban on same-sex marriage, saying the question should be resolved by the nation's highest judges. Should State Attorney General Pam Bondi win a stay, gay and lesbian couples seeking to wed will have to wait until well after the November elections to get hitched. Bondi filed her request on Friday in 2 of Florida's high-profile same-sex marriage cases, one out of Miami-Dade and the other out of Monroe County. The Miami-based 3rd District Court of Appeals will review the motion and later issue a ruling. In the motion, Bondi asks the appeals court not to hear such cases until the U.S. Supreme Court reviews similar same-sex marriage decisions from other states. After 2 years of arguments, protests, and environmental analysis, hunters will arrive this Friday at the Loxahatchee National Wildlife Refuge to start killing alligators. 11 hunters have won a lottery in which 1,203 people applied for permits to take 2 alligators each in the refuge, a vast sweep of swamp and forest that runs west of US 441 from Boca Raton to Wellington. Working primarily at night, they will be allowed to use harpoons, spear guns, crossbows, and other means to catch the alligator, killing it with a bang stick, a pole that discharges a shotgun shell or bullet into the reptile's brain. When the hunters arrive on Friday, and many may not since the hunt runs through October, they will be greeted by protesters from the Animal Rights Foundation of Florida, one of several groups that had written letters in opposition to the hunt. A Disney World janitor was arrested on Friday for kidnapping and sexual battery. According to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, Gideon Paul Hunt, who is 49 years old, attacked the victim during working hours. The victim told detectives Hunt cornered her against her will in a custodial closet. Hunt then held her down and sexually assaulted her. The police affidavit says the victim tried to get Hunt off of her, and she demanded him to release her from his grip. The attack lasted between 3 and 5 minutes, according to the victim. The job site supervisors contacted the police. Hunt was questioned and taken into custody. A huge Burmese python with an appetite for cats was captured Friday morning in Port St. Lucie when Sergeant John Holman received the alert from the dispatch office that a citizen had reported seeing a large snake in the neighborhood. He had no idea how large a snake he would eventually discover. Holman arrived just after 7 a.m. and found a dead cat in an empty lot. Then he spotted a 12-foot, 120-pound python in waist-high brushes. Holman called for backup to help in removing the snake from the brush, and a licensed snake handler from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission also responded. The python was removed from the area and taken to an animal sanctuary where it will remain. And those are the headlines from The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. A mix of sun and clouds today with a thunderstorm in the area, mainly early in the day. High 90 to 94. Partly cloudy skies tonight, low 73 to 76. Tomorrow feature times of sun and clouds with a thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 92 to 94. And a shower or thunderstorm around tomorrow evening, otherwise clear skies tomorrow night, low 73 to 77. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Stephanie Omo.
Hospice of Marion County has an urgent need for volunteers to share a conversation with someone, run errands, hold someone's hand. All you need is a willingness to help others. Our volunteers believe the blessings they receive far exceed the services they offer. Will you consider serving, caring, and making a difference? Call today, 873-7441. Hospice of Marion County, making more moments of life possible.
What new poultry inspection rules mean for consumers? That story next on This Land of Ours.
This is my farm, and on it I'm raising corn. I'm raising soybeans, and sometimes wheat. I'm raising chickens, and a few horses. I'm raising catfish and crappies down at the pond. But above all that, before everything else, I'm raising my kids.
You're a parent first, farmer second. Do all you can to make your farm safe for children. Visit cultivatesafety.org for help protecting the most important thing you will ever raise.
USDA is implementing the most significant update to the nation's poultry inspection system in over 60 years, according to Deputy Undersecretary Brian Ronholm.
The bottom line for us is creating an inspection system that results in safer products. And to us, that's the ultimate end results, and that's what's most meaningful for consumers. I think consumers want to know that there is an inspection system in place that reflects current scientific thinking, current scientific data, and it's going to result in a system that addresses the biggest threats to food safety. And I think once the consumer is confident that that is in place, I think they can feel confident that the system is working in their favor.
Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack explains that the new inspection system requires all poultry plants to test for foodborne pathogens like salmonella.
FSIS already does such testing. This new rule will require the processing plants to also do additional testing and sampling. This is extraordinarily important. We think it will increase the chances of us detecting problems, and it places a responsibility and burden on the processing facility to do additional testing.